fades away and laughter's had its time, we settle down to stories told in meter, prose, or rhyme. For every giggle, every tear has led to something true. It's a chronicle of dreams that grow ironical, with twists and turns and lessons learned and tales that make your spirit burn. One heart, one mind, one soul to share. It's life retold in chronicle flair. A comedy, a balladry, a musical, a chronicle sincere. From laughs to feels, from beats to tales, the T-Riffic show prevails. In a dazzling, heartfelt truth and giggles, show it all.
And now for a story that turns chaos into balance, frustration into fun, and somehow turns floating pancakes into lessons about limits.
It was an ordinary morning in the town of Floatsville, or at least it had started that way. The sun rose, birds chirped, and the smell of breakfast drifted through the streets. But something felt different. A cup of coffee hovered just above the kitchen table, spinning lazily as if it were deciding where to go next. Mara blinked, staring at it in disbelief. "Okay," she said, "that's not normal." By the time she stepped outside, she realized the full scope of the problem. Cats were floating 3 feet off the ground, batting at mid-air leaves as if gravity had simply forgotten them. Balls, hats, and even newspapers drifted along the sidewalks, twisting and spinning in ways that made her stomach do little flips. The air was alive with motion, yet eerily quiet, as if the town had entered a dream where nothing obeyed the usual rules. At first, people were delighted. Children ran around trying to jump higher than they ever could, cheering as they hovered a second longer than expected. Friends tried tossing frisbees, only to watch them pause mid-air before slowly spinning towards someone else. The town felt like a playground built in zero gravity. Mara had to admit, it was kind of fun. But fun, as Mara quickly learned, has a tipping point. Pancakes floating toward the ceiling turned breakfast into a guessing game. Coffee cups drifted into faces. Dogs zoomed past, their leashes tangled in midair. One man's newspaper wrapped itself around his head like a floating mask. Chaos, she realized, had begun to outweigh the amusement. Mara took a deep breath and called out, "Stop spinning that table! Catch the floating laptop! Watch where you're going!" Her voice was steady, calm, and firm. At first, people laughed, thinking she was part of the joke. But there was something in her tone, something that demanded attention. Slowly, they began to respond. A boy reached up and caught a floating soccer ball. A woman guided her shopping bag down from midair. Even the cats, as if obeying some invisible command, settled closer to the ground. Still, not everything was easy. Mara's little brother, Leo, tried jumping from one floating chair to another and ended up clinging to the ceiling light fixture. "Leo!" Mara shouted, running to help him. "Gravity might be on vacation, but I'm not." She scooped him down and set him gently on the ground. He laughed, wide-eyed, thrilled by the floating adventure, but relieved to be safely back on solid earth. As the morning unfolded, Mara discovered that the key to surviving the day was communication, patience, and a little creative problem-solving. People started helping each other, catching falling objects, guiding pets, securing floating groceries. Floatsville slowly regained a sense of order, even as gravity remained absent. It was a delicate balance, a dance between chaos and control, and Mara felt proud of her town for rising to the challenge. By afternoon, the floating objects were mostly contained. Cups and plates found temporary resting spots. Cats curled up in sunny windows. Pancakes returned to their plates, a little lighter for the adventure but intact. People laughed, exhausted but joyful, realizing that even in wild chaos, a calm and steady hand could make all the difference. As the sun began to set, gravity returned, slipping quietly back into the world as if it had never left. Floors felt solid again. Tables no longer floated. Cats stalked the ground, blissfully normal. Pancake stayed put. The townspeople breathed a collective sigh of relief. Mara smiled, brushing her hands together. The day had been strange, unpredictable, and at times frustrating. But it had also been magical. She realized something important. Creativity and energy were wonderful, but balance and boundaries were just as vital. You could soar, you could spin, you could float, but knowing when to step back and regain your footing was what kept life safe, enjoyable, and fun. And as she looked around at the tired but happy faces of her friends and neighbors, Mara whispered to herself, a little grin on her lips, even when the world goes upside down, you can find your center. And sometimes, you just have to say quit it.
So remember, my T-Riffic friends, even in imbalance, chaos, when gravity spins out of control, you still have the power to just take a deep breath. Set your boundaries, and when needed, quit it. Stay balanced, and as always, I emphasize please, stay terrific.
Quit it, Sean.